and welcome back to the Client Code podcast. My name is Carol Kabale, and as always, you already know. You know, it's me. I have the best for you. Today, we are going to talk about so many things. First, I know you have been here, okay? You've had that moment where you're in your business, you've been doing this, everything feels right, but everything feels like not on purpose. You just feel empty. You feel like, why do I have to serve these people and these clients? Everything just feels overwhelming. And on top of that, you have to carry this load by yourself. There's no collaboration. There's no one to support you. There's nothing going on. Well, if you've ever had that feeling or something similar, fill in the blank here. You know, you're welcome to. I want to invite you to take a moment and listen to this podcast, because this episode just might be for you. Hello, Tanya, and welcome to the Client Code podcast.
Okay, two things. I'm so excited you started this, and I'm so excited to be able to chat with you again because we had such great conversations. So it's like a win-win. I love those.
I love win-wins. I love it. I'm so glad you're here. You have no idea. Like, for everyone listening, you do not know how many hurdles we had to climb. We were climbing mountains and seeking things, but we did it because great things are worth waiting for. So today's episode is going to be extra special. I just know it.
I agree.
Gonna be great. So let's dive right in. Tanya, I asked everybody on the show the same question. What is your unique client code, particularly when it comes to visibility?
You know, it's funny because off air, we were sort of having a brief conversation about this. And I want to preface this like kind of the beginning of, I've been doing this for 28 years in business. And so for anybody who's out there, like you were saying at the beginning, like, if you're ever kind of feeling like, I got to do this again like this, it's just not lighting me up. 100% normal. 28 years. I don't even think I have enough fingers and toes to count how many times it's happened. So it's 100% normal. We are all going to be okay and get through this. And I think that's always been the biggest thing for me. When I start feeling like I am not connected, I am not ignited about what's going on, I realize that my visibility has gotten that way. And so for me, my visibility is 100% connected to my passion about the project that I'm working on. Am I lit up about it? What is going on? And then really digging into, why am I not lit up about this? So for me, my visibility is always at the highest. My sales are always at the highest. My interactions are always at the highest when I myself am like, guys, I got this amazing thing that's happening. Or, can you believe this person said this? When my passion is there, everybody else is like, it's like you create this vortex that people just get sucked into. So really discovering that passion that you have and that, fanning that flame that we all have inside of ourselves, the visibility will just come.
I love that. And you know what? I will also just say, it's great to think about it that way and be like, hey, visibility will come when I'm passionate. But as entrepreneurs, you got to be passionate all the time. I'm not allowed to, because if you only show up when you're passionate, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. I said what I said, come fight me. I'm standing on that. Like, no. If you only show up when you're passionate, and I'm guilty of this, that's not a real business. But I do agree with you, Tanya, that when I am passionate about something, oh my gosh, it shows. It's like I'm in love. It's like, oh my goodness, I just need to tell everyone. I need to phone anyone. I will do 50 stories. I will do 20 reels. I will do all the things because I'm just so like to get it out there. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is, I sort of equate it to, my relationship with the gym. I'm not always passionate about going the first few days that I'm like, I'm going to kick, like, this is it, right? Like, new year, new me, whatever the case may be, or new summer, new me, whatever body I'm like trying to go for. I'm really excited about the beginning of it. But what I realized is sometimes we think passion means that we have to be like super excited and like rejuvenated about it and, like jumping around. But like the gym, like business, like love, sometimes that passion comes in, you know what? I'm passionate because I'm still going, because I'm still going to the gym, because I'm still working on this relationship with this person, because I'm still figuring out this business. that too is passion, so we have to understand that it's not all like, sometimes your
Yeah.
passion looks a little subdued, that you're like, you know what? I'm here. I'm hanging on. We're going to get through this together. Like, I'm still going, maybe it's only 5 minutes, but I showed up, and
Exactly.
our visibility is the same way. Sometimes we're not going to be all like screaming and happy and excited. But I think if we're authentic to what we're going through and what we're feeling, that resonates with people. And we're seeing that
Yeah.
more and more in 26, right? There's a lot of people who are backing away from, I call it the canvasation of everything, where
Oh,
everything is
tell me more about
curated.
this thing.
We kind of went through a phase, I find, in 2025 where everything was really curated. Everything looked beautiful. Everything was like perfect, blah, blah, blah. And now we're starting to see more people who are just like showing up. Like they're just coming on and saying, this is what popped into my head. This is kind of what I'm thinking of. And then they sign off. It's not all, the stars and the glory and everything. They're just kind of getting back to, this is what I'm thinking. This is kind of what's going on. And I think that's really important that we realize there are ebbs and flows.
Yes.
Just really going, is this an ebb and flow? Am I going to come back up, or like, am I sinking the boat?
Yeah, like, do we need to rethink the whole boat, And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes we get stuck on, do I burn it all down and start again? Can
Yes.
I fix the boat or do I jump onto a new boat? Like, because we have options, I myself, I have wanted to burn the boat down a couple of times, but fear stops me. And I just tend to kind of gently patch the boat. If we're continuing with that metaphor, I like to say, okay, well, what parts of what I do light me up? What parts can I generally feel like I'm being of service and I'm helping people? I'm not just doing it to, collect a check or an invoice or whatever it is. Like, what parts still make me feel like a decent human being? And then I'm like, yeah, that no longer is something I want to do. And I also really want to go back to what you said about just showing up as you are super quick, because that's also something that I think a lot of us have struggled with. This
Hmm.
level of perfection and like curated everything. Like, you've got to have perfect lighting and perfect this. I'll tell you the truth. Today, because life is lifing, I have this whole setup. I have this beautiful Canon camera. I have a teleprompter in front of me. And you know what happened? Just before I had to get on the call, the camera was not charged. So you know what happened? We had to make a plan. And that is okay. There's a part of us that sometimes spirals when it's not perfect, and it stops us from taking action, where imperfect action is action, guys. And I feel like that's something that is worth more. If you truly want to be a person of service, if you want to show up and not only just check collect, like, just show up, like, do what you can, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I also tell people too, like, my clients that are in my mastery group, I always say to them, look, if you are not the person who can like walk out of your house without like a full face of makeup on because you're just like, that's not me, that's okay. But don't not record it. It doesn't mean that you have to post it, but sit there and record everything, because it's in those moments that sometimes the nuggets happen. And then you're like, I was so brilliant. That was amazing. And then if you feel the need to perfect it, or you want to make sure that you're glammed or whatever, because that's how you feel more confident to present that story to the world or whatever thought it is you have, that's okay too. But I find when you get stuck in going, okay, I'm only going to record when everything is absolutely perfect, we lose those spontaneous moments. So I have a
Mhm.
lot of videos on, mostly in the car, not while I'm driving, but mostly in the car when I'm like parked and waiting for somebody, of me going, oh, I had this thought, because somebody walks by and it reminds me of something that a client said or something that I had to deal with. And I'm like, oh, people need to know about this. So I record like a quick video. And sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to put this video out. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, we're going to make this look a little bit better, and then we're going to send it out. So again, it's finding that balance of like what works for you, but don't stop the creativity, because everything we record doesn't need to be shared. Remember, like, we can edit.
I like that idea. Everything we record doesn't need to be edited. I feel like that statement alone applies to many parts of your life. Doesn't need to be posted. Sorry. Everything we record doesn't need to be posted. That applies more times than you think. Right. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a very, very good one. I like the idea of sort of capturing the moment, and then that idea came from within you. There's this thing I read recently where it said, I'm paraphrasing here, but it said like sometimes we make decisions and then every thought we have after that is actually our brain trying to prove why that choice is not a good choice.
Yeah,
But your
absolutely.
first gut choice or intuition or feeling or like decision, that was usually the one you should do. Everything else that comes after that, you're just like, it's your body protecting you from taking that first step. So I love the idea of just doing it. And then if you want to be like, not quite ready, you can go back or it could be perfect. I love that. That's a
Yeah.
nice
And I
one.
mean, I have like notebooks upon notebooks of stuff that I've written, of like ideas that I've had. And sometimes I've gone back and I remember one, it was year maybe 2 in business. So this would have been 1999, 2000. Okay. And I had this
Oh my goodness.
brilliant idea of like what I wanted to do. But I remember reading it over and over again and going, this is like trying to get to the moon. This is ridiculous that I thought that this like kind of was a good idea. But then 10 years after, because like I wanted to own, so here's what it was. I wanted to own
Tell me.
multiple
I was going to
businesses.
say, can you tell us the idea?
Yeah. I wanted to have like 4 businesses and just have them run so that I could have like cash cows with just money coming in. But this is
I love
ridiculous
this
because I
idea.
had just started my first business and everything I had was kind of in this one. So for a lot of years, it seemed really ridiculous. But then 10 years later, I ended up meeting my husband and he already had a business. And I was like, I was reading back through my notebooks and I was like, I'm at 2 now. Like I'm halfway to this goal. And why can't I do it? So although the idea at the time and for a long time was unattainable, I got to a position of, just general age and experience and just where my life was at the time that all of a sudden that idea made sense. So I always say there's no such thing as a stupid idea. That doesn't exist. It just might not be the right time for that idea to be brilliant. It doesn't make it stupid. It doesn't make it, a lot of people will go, that's dumb. I can't ever do that. Right now, you can't do it. Right now, it might seem ridiculous, right? But you
Yes.
just never know where you're going to be at. And sometimes, we get all of these little lessons in life that sort of teach us that we need to take a step back and kind of like get over ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and realize that it's okay to kind of have like some shitty decisions. Cause like you said, sometimes we make them in the moment or we kind of go, I really, really want to do this, but what are people going to think? This, we share it with family or friends and they're like, that's ridiculous. Like, there's so many times that I've done businesses that people are like, I don't think this is a great idea. And I'm like, okay, I'm not asking you to invest. Like, and then afterwards they're like, can I
A
have
great answer,
shares?
actually.
And I'm like, actually, we don't sell shares to people who weren't with us at the beginning. So no,
Yeah.
you don't get to reap it now,
Brilliant.
right? So I
Yes.
think it's, we all just need to remember that every idea has a place and time that it becomes brilliant. Sometimes we just need to wait for that to crop up. And sometimes it's not ours. I've had ideas that have been really, really great. And I've looked through books and I've shared it with other entrepreneurial friends in groups that I have or shared it with my clients. And they've taken it and made it this beautiful, spectacular thing
Mm,
that I could have never done. Right.
yeah.
So I find that sometimes it just always comes up. So just like write them down. What felt ridiculous when I, first started my business. Now I'm like, oh, I could do that in my sleep. Starting 4 businesses at once. Like now I'm like, not a problem. What do you want? What do you want me to start? Where do you want me to go? I know how to do it. Right. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I want to add to that. And like while you were talking, this sort of weird thing that I said years ago popped into my head, which was like, if you want to have a good giggle, go to your Canva account and like go scroll. It's going to take you a minute, but you're going to have to scroll down, 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 down. And somewhere there at the bottom where you can't scroll anymore will be your very first Canva design. And you're going to look at that design and you're going to be like, who created that? A 5-year-old? A 2-year-old? And you're going to be like, oh my gosh. Or you could be very proud of it. I don't want to put that on you. But most of us will be like, did I design this? Was I posting about this? Was I using this?
I
And
want to
that just
say,
goes-
though, if you are not
Okay, tell
upset
me.
about the first one that you made,
Mhm.
then you haven't had improvement.
That. Also, that.
Right? If people are like, no, my first thing was the best, then I'm like, you have not improved over however many years that is. So it is 100%. You should be like, what was that? Like every
Exactly.
artist who sings a song was like, let me tell you, this first song that I recorded was horrible, right? That means you've improved. If you look back and you're like, what was I thinking? That means you're improving. That's a good thing.
I like that. So forget what I said and take that. Forget everything I said and take that. And I say that because you are not the same person. So,
No.
of course, in business, if you expect yourself to like, oh, I'm going to be this person, it's going to be like this. No, we're human. We're naturally built to evolve, to change, to adapt, especially if you want to. I use myself as an example here. Like, I used to be such a people pleaser. I still sort of am sometimes when I feel like it for the right person because I love them. But besides that, no, thank you. There's a boundary here. I'm going to need you to like stay over there. But certain people, they have a VIP pass and they know who they are. Moving swiftly along, I say this because as now, I can very easily say, no, that's out of scope. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that because it's Saturday and I'm spending it with my husband. Or no, I actually just don't want to come to that meeting because it really could be an email and we're not going to be productive on it. And I think that comes with time, especially if you want to grow and improve, you can. You just have to like put your mind to it, you know?
Yeah. And I think it does become a freeing thing to go, oh, yeah, no, thank you. Right. Before I used to be like, no, I'm so sorry. I have this or that, or this is going on, or blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Like the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Can we talk about that for a second? The older I get, it is so easy for me to say no to things. I used to say yes to everything and find joy in it. Now I just want to say not no to everything, but like there's a joy in saying no. And there's a joy in doing things that I actually wanted to do, whether that's business related or just like spending time with my husband. Like there's just, because it's more intentional, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think, it's so funny because I have like a lot of friends who, are, I'm a decade older than a lot of my really close business friends. And so a lot of them are like turning 40 and they're like, oh, I'm so getting old. I'm the only one in the group who's like, I am so excited to get old. Like, I am so excited to come into this era for two reasons. One, I have watched so many older women say what is on their mind to people.
Mm-hmm.
And people just go, crazy old grandma, and they walk away. I get fists thrown at me, right? There becomes this little switch where people just go, crazy old lady. Like, I am looking forward to that era where I can like drop filters and be like, this is just kind of what I think. And I think that just comes, it comes with age, but I think it also comes with experience too, because we understand what is behind saying that yes. We've experienced it so much, we've gone through it so much that it's not just a simple yes. So, when I first started out in business, I said yes to everybody, which everybody goes, don't say yes to everybody. I think it's important because when I look back on saying yes to everybody, I learned very quickly who I wanted to work with. Right? Because there's a difference between my ideal client and who I want to work with. Because I have worked with people who fit the mold of my ideal client, but their personality is not who I want to work with, right? As a coach, I am not you're so pretty and I love you. Like I do that, but I'm not soft. I'm not a soft coach. So I have to, I realized very on that it's very stressful for me to have somebody who gets their feelings hurt very easily. Like to me, that's very stressful because I'll just say, no, that is not going to stop doing that. What are you thinking? Right? As opposed to going, what I think we should do is maybe just try to shift a little. Like that's just not my nature. There's nothing wrong with that if that is your nature. That doesn't make you weak or anything. But so as I took everybody on, I realized this is who I like to work with. This is, this is their personality type that works well with me. These are some of the questions I'm going to ask that's going to draw that out of them. So I think it's, just as you gain that experience, it's easier to say no because you understand saying yes causes this chain reaction. And I've been
Yes.
through that chain reaction so much that it's easier for me to look at the end and go, do I have the emotional capacity of where I'm at in my life right now to deal with the repercussions of saying yes to this? So it's not that we, are saying, it's not that we're rejecting more things. I think we just become more selective because we see that path and we're like, no, we see the whole story, right? We've gotten to the end of enough stories that we're like, I know how this fairy tale ends.
And it's like, I just don't want to do it. That's you've said it so perfectly. You've honestly said it so perfectly. No is really a complete sentence that I've had to learn, and I'm grateful for the journey it's taken me on, but I'm also grateful for the fact that it's like my new normal, because when you say yes to things like you just said, you're just more intentional, you're just more happy, and you show up better because you have more bandwidth, especially that. As entrepreneurs, like, we're constantly, our energy is being deprived, I would say, from our clients, from the constant need to market yourself and show up, from the ever-changing landscape we all live in. Like, one day there's AI, one day there's not AI. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with and a lot of things that demand our attention and our energy. So that is also a really big piece that needs to be protected. And I think No does a really good work of doing that. Good job of doing that. English went and decided it was tired. With me, it was like,
we don't know
that
yet.
word I was trying to say?
I think the thing you have to remember too is, and this was a little bit of a hard lesson for me to learn too, is the more that I said no, the more I had to be willing to accept no. Because also other people in my life were coming into their no era. So it's really easy to say no. Sometimes it's hard to accept no. So like, for example, on a personal level, me and my girlfriends have an agreement that if you are ever just not feeling it for whatever the case may be, for, we've planned a night out or whatever, you are without guilt allowed to go not feeling it. And that's all you have to do. And we totally understand. If you reply with having a hard time wanting to go, then that's the call out of like, you guys got to come and try to convince me. Like, I kind of want to go, but like, I'm just being lazy and I'm sitting at home. So it was like creating also those boundaries of going, look, here's the sentences that we're going to use so that we know when you want help or when you're like, look, just like something came up and I'm bored, whatever. I ate too many burritos.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave.
I'm
Like,
comfortable
whatever the
in my
case may
pajamas.
be.
Why do you want me to like change clothes right now? Like, no.
But it's hard because it's like, we love saying no, but then when we get it, we kind of take it as a personal attack.
It
So
sort of feels, especially I will take that one. Like, for me, I've tried to be very intentional with friendship. So I'm not gonna lie, I get my feelings hurt when people like say things very directly, because then I'm like, oh gosh, what's happening? Don't worry, I'm working on it because I need to, because it's a point of improvement. But sometimes it's like, you're like, oh, did I say it? Did I say something wrong? Is something wrong with them? Then I want to like dig and dig. And it's like, no, they're fine. They just don't want to do this thing. So I, I see that. I see that. Okay. Last question I want to ask you, because, Tanya, you and me, we can talk. We can talk.
forever.
I wish this was like a series. It's like the Carol and Tanya series where we just talk and talk, because today,
we're going to write that down as an idea of potential that maybe there is like a collaboration there that's going to start. Maybe that came up for a reason. Right.
Okay, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna pin that. I like
never
that.
know.
I do like that idea. There is a vibe and an energy here that I really do like. That being said, we have a little ending tradition on the show, which I share my mantra with you, which goes simply like this: what you don't change, you choose. So Tanya, what are you choosing today?
Today, I think 2020, this is like such a good question for right now because we're sort of at the beginning of the year, and 2026 is my choice for the year that I always make is just showing up as me, uncurated. The thoughts that I have is just saying them and understanding that not everybody has to love them, because Lord knows for my entire life, not everybody has loved me, and I've learned to accept that. But I think it's just, if I have something to say, I'm not going to be scared to say it anymore. I'm making the choice to say it because I know there's one person that needs to hear it. So that choice of going, I just want to help one person. I just need one person to go, thank God I'm not alone in this.
Well, thank
And
God
I
she
think,
said it, because I was thinking
yeah,
it. Like, thank
yeah,
you.
like one person's like, I'm not like, this isn't
I'm
just
not
me,
going
right?
crazy. Somebody else has
Yeah.
this feeling.
Yeah. Oh, it's not just me, right? It never is just you. There, you will always be able to find somebody else. So I
Yes.
think that that's really my choice this year, is really choosing that I am always enough and that what I have to say matters to someone.
I love that. That mic drop. Okay, end of interview. Let's go. It's fine. It's done. That was beautiful. That was great. That was actually great. Okay, back to this. Where can I send the listeners? Where am I sending the people? Where can they find you?
So probably the easiest place is if you head to my website at foxtalksbusiness.com. You can find where I am on all of my socials. You can find my podcast there, my book, everything that I do is always listed on there. I'm the one who answers all my messages. So if you have a question, just send it and you get it from me, not a bot, not an AI, not an assistant, because I think that's important.
I
So
like that.
yeah, that's the best place.
Okay, go do the things. Go to her website. It's going to be in the doodly doos down here, up here somewhere where you find the things. Go to her, say, Carol sent me. I'm here. I'm ready. I want to work with you. Tanya's good people, guys. Like, I only bring the best kind of people here, and Tanya really is good people. I have wanted this podcast for the longest time because I knew how many gems were going to be dropped here, and you did not disappoint, honestly. Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you so much for being here.
You fill my cup. You fill my cup.
Okay. Well, thank you, listener, for listening to the Client Code podcast. As always, my name is Carol Kabale. It has been a pleasure having you here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.